Hello, this is a tournament battle in the Indie Pride Milk and Cookies Total War tournament. Indie Pride is the player name and Milk and Cookies Total War is his channel. So, the way the faction picks work in this tournament is that both players pick two factions. Player 1, or the guy who's highest up in the brackets, picks the map, and then the other player takes away one of the factions from player 1. So in this case I picked Carthage and Rome. Rome was taken away. He picked Rome and Egypt. I took away Egypt, so then we're left with Carthage against Rome. I haven't played the game in quite a few days, so I wanted to have a build with a very simple build that could potentially match Rome in what Rome can do. I brought 4 cavalry units, 3 Carthaginian cavalry, 1 noble cavalry for rear charging. I brought 3 mercenary Scutari, 6 Libyan infantry and 3 mercenary Iberian swords, with 2 mercenary Gallic warriors on each flank. My opponent has just a mix of legionary units, some Hastati, pretty standard Roman stuff, but he also has this pretty interesting looking blob of 5 legionary cavalry. So maybe the plan was to do an epic YOLO charge if I had a lot of skirmishers, but I really don't. I only have hybrid skirmishers. But not really sure what the plan was with having this massive wedge. I haven't tried if this type of setup is epic for crashing through lines and getting at enemy skirmishers. Perhaps it is. But anyway, I'm just going to move up. This is obviously a rush build, so that's what I'm going to do. Rush and surround Rome. And the plan is to match my cheap units against his cheap units. So ideally I want to match my mercenary Gallic warriors against his Hastati, and I want to engage my Libyan infantry against his legionary cohorts and his evocati cohorts to try to get them into shield wall and hold while I destroy the rest of the army, and I'm able to move around and charge him. But I have to be a bit careful because my opponent has a lot of cavalry here, and although this legionary cavalry is pretty crappy cavalry, it can really mess up my charge if he just gets one charge on 5 of my infantry units and then he counter charges himself. That's going to be pretty bad for my guys. So I'm keeping my own cavalry close behind here. I want to avoid having especially my mercenary Scutari targeted by this cavalry, because they don't have shield wall, so they just can't go into panic mode if they're charged. Moving up, my opponent's not moving forward, I don't blame him. There's a whole lot of swords coming his way, and like I said, I haven't played the game in a few days, so I figured I'd bring a build that is as easy to use as possible and that can match what Rome does very well, at least somewhat effectively, because now that the Hastati have had their melee attack reduced, let's see, where are they? Here. They have had their melee attack reduced to 35. These mercenary Gallic warriors can beat them on the charge, and that is pretty important, and maybe they could before as well, but they beat them a bit easier now than what they did before. So the Hastati are slightly less cost effective, still very cost effective units, still great speed bump units. And the reason why I want to split Rome into Marian and Polybian Rome, so basically to split into that you can only bring legionaries and legionary types of cavalry and auxiliary units, or you can go for a Polybian era Hastati, Principe and Triarii, because the combination of being able to bring legionary cohorts and Hastati is just too powerful against most infantry based armies. But I'm trying to match that somewhat here with bringing my own mercenary Gallics and bringing Libyan infantry and Scutari. So, here I managed to get a free volley or 2 off on his legionary cavalry, which is going to be very useful in taking down their hit points and reducing their effectiveness. Just going to pull back here because I want to wait until I can throw javelins again before I charge in. So here I don't pay attention because he's going to go after me with his legionary cavalry, but not really the best of ideas going against, even if this unit is stationary, it still has infantry support, so he's going to lose this unit of legionary cavalry. Over here, the same legionary cavalry charging into my mercenary Gallic warriors, and while this is a pretty good tactic to use with the shock cavalry charging into mercenary Celtic warriors, he's going to lose a lot of men on this unit while not getting a lot of kills. So here it's just charging in, full YOLO charge, trying to match up units against the units that are heading straight for them as best I can. Legionary cavalry is being beaten down, using my own cavalry to stop his flanking cavalry over here. His legionary cavalry is losing badly to infantry units and Carthaginian cavalry, keeping my general here in support, not really taking fire yet, but some units are being fired upon, like these mercenary Scutari, and they are going to die extremely quickly. But I want to focus fire on his cavalry units, so he's going to push through here with a unit of legionary cavalry. That gap was not wide enough, but he gave move orders instead of, but it's not really a pull through, it's just a move through, because I didn't have attack orders on the cavalry with my mercenary Scutari, but I am able to stop the cavalry with my own noble cavalry, so this legionary cav is going down, which allows me to shift fire onto his general. So his legatus is going to take some soliferum fire here. It's going to start dropping fairly effectively. Now you can see my mercenary Gallic warriors are doing well against his Hastati, but they didn't get a good charge, so it's mostly these Libyan infantry doing the killing actually. The mercenary Celtic warriors didn't do much. So he's disengaging here with some veteran legionaries. They're going to get charged in the rear by my Carthaginian cavalry. This isn't a pretty battle, it's not a battle with a lot of maneuvering, it's just basically two infantry armies beating each other down and seeing who comes out on top. But that can be nice sometimes too. Legionary cavalry going down, legionary cohort going down, veteran legionaries doing well against my Libyan infantry, but they are going to get charged in the rear now. I thought I put my Libyan infantry in shield wall, but maybe because my my shift and my control keys are a bit dodgy at times, so sometimes when I try to select several units at once, I only select one unit, and I think that's what happened here, that I only put one of my units in shield wall, so that could explain why my Libyan infantry is dying quicker than I expected. So maybe I should get a new keyboard. But overall, things aren't looking too shabby. Able to charge some veteran legionaries and break them, always nice to take out those expensive high morale units that can do a lot of damage. Now he's just firing at my auxiliaries here, not being able to do much here. Firing into the Libyan infantry, the Eagle cohort, pretty strange choice, but still getting some kills. Legionary cohort, this is just, the reason I'm winning here is mainly just because I have more units. I have 3 versus 2, and that's going to swing the battle in my favor fairly decisively. Able to push through his center, and now his skirmishers are free game for my mercenary Iberian swords. Getting into the Velites, and they're going to absolutely slaughter the Velites. Very decent units, these mercenary Iberian swords, able to throw their javelins and then charge into melee and get some nice kills. Their only downside is that they only have 15 armor, but they are so cheap. They became a bit more expensive now, but they are just great units, even though they got a price increase of about 30. Still great units. So my sword spam is beating his infantry line. Cavalry is moving in and trying to get rear charges, trying to finish off the more... and here you can see how well the Evocati cohort does. It has 171 kills on my units, and these guys were up against Libyan infantry and mercenary Scutari, so these guys are still very dangerous. They got a price increase of 10, I believe, which is kind of a joke. If you bring 6, it's going to cost you 60 more, which is nothing. They are still extremely cost effective and very good units. But now the Roman army is quickly disintegrating. I have a fair amount of units left. Just too many infantry units for this Roman army to handle. Not a very good show by me. But my opponent said something pretty interesting after the battle, that he had tried this army against Carthage 7 times, and he won 7 out of 7 battles. So I'm kind of curious to know who he played against and what the builds were, but I didn't ask. So here we can see a nice spread of kills over most of my units. Some of the Libyan infantry did well, mainly Libyan infantry that was up against Hastati and such. But here you can see Hastati is also doing very well, and if this Roman army was a more standard Roman army with more legionary units and less cavalry, I think I would have been in a lot of trouble. But he said he didn't prepare for straight up infantry spam, and I guess when you play as Rome against Carthage, you don't really expect Carthage to try and outsword you. Maybe you expect Carthage to try and outskirmish you and maybe bring an elephant and such. So that's also why I picked Carthage against Rome, because I figured Rome wouldn't expect me to bring a straight up Carthaginian sword spam with some hybrid skirmishing support. But anyway, good game, well played to Scalphunter. And now I advance to the next round in this tournament. So we will have some more battles for the Milk and Cookies Total War, and this was a best of one, so just a single elimination. So now I'm qualified for the is it 32 or 16? I don't remember. Maybe it's 32. I believe it was 64 and then it's 32, but I could be wrong. So we'll see at least 2 more battles, because I believe the next round is a best of 3, unless I'm mistaken about that as well. I am a bit tired now, not functioning optimally. But anyway, hope you enjoyed this battle. I did. I'll see you again on the battlefield.